Ladies and gentlemen, she has returned. Parker Valby, welcome to the Running Effect podcast. How are you doing this afternoon?
Oh, so lovely. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You just got back from Tampa, a little road trip. What's your go-to get through a car ride playlist, podcast? What's the normal breakdown?
Oh, what did I do? Okay, I probably shouldn't be saying this on, but I did watch TikTok the whole time. I've become very skilled at that. So that's what I did.
Well, these new cars have self-driving and all of those sorts of stuff. So that reality is probably not too far away for the average American.
Not gonna lie, my car doesn't have that right now.
I was trying to give you an out, Parker. You should have just been like, yeah, I have the newest Tesla. It was driving for me.
So
All that
I
stuff.
did just
All
get a new
that
car.
stuff. There you go. What's the dream car if you could get any car?
A Range Rover, white Range
A
Rover. It
Range
might be
Rover.
basic, but yeah.
Not a Porsche or you're more like a SUV Range Rover?
Oh yeah, no, I'm a big car. Because like if you get
Okay,
hit, like safer. And I'm not really a fan of smaller cars. I don't know. I like
that's
to
fair.
feel like I'm protected.
What's the general For You page of your TikTok look like? Funny videos, running videos, all over
You
the
know,
place.
I can't really give you a straightforward answer on that. Probably
Okay.
everything. Literally everything.
I was talking to Coach Palmer on the podcast, and he was talking about, and I think this is interesting, that you delete social media strategically ahead of events or whatnot. He said the one app you don't delete is TikTok. When's the sponsorship coming, and why not that app? What makes that the best app for you? Or is it just people don't talk about you there?
It's just yeah, it's like that. And it's just like you're able to like mindlessly scroll. I feel like with Instagram and stuff, you get tagged and everything. And obviously like I'll get tagged and stuff on TikTok, but it's not like things that will affect like my mental health. It's like stupid things.
Thoughts on Instagram Reels? I know some people that think it's better than TikTok. Admittingly, I'm a little bit in that
I
category.
personally don't watch them. Do not watch them ever.
Have you
I'm
ever
a
tried?
I'm a TikTok girl through and through. I had TikTok before Instagram. Well, I guess it was Musically, but yeah,
Dang. How far ago was that?
they're old TikToks.
Yeah. Wasn't Vine before TikTok though?
I don't know. I didn't have Vine. I had
Okay.
Musically, and then TikTok.
What was Musically?
It was like basically TikTok. It was just like the before TikTok. It was just the
Uh,
old name of it.
Okay. Was there a was there an old Parker Valby account that you had on Musically that is no longer existing?
Absolutely, and I'm so grateful that it got deleted because if those videos were on the internet, they probably are somewhere, and I hope no one finds them ever. I've tried to find them, and I think they're gone.
So coming back from a little vacation, how good has the past few weeks felt to just kind of decompress post Paris and probably the longest season of your life?
Oh yeah, no, definitely needed. I never in a million years thought that I would be racing for a year straight. It was definitely a lot, but a break is definitely needed, and yeah.
231.5, so 231 and a half laps around the track. How
Oof.
crazy is that number to you?
That's just racing too. You can't even count like the practice laps too. Like I don't even want to add up all that.
In your mind, what was the most difficult of those laps of the 231
Oh, that's a
if
really
you had to
hard
pick?
question. The most difficult, like effort wise, I feel like mentally probably Paris, just because I was so mentally checked out and done and wanted to be done so bad. But I mean, physically, I would probably say I don't know. That's a really good question. I wouldn't say any of them like hurt, but it was still a lot of laps. Maybe the 10K at Brian Clay. I don't know if my feet were ready to run in spikes for that many laps at that time, so the spikes really hurt my feet. But yeah, that's probably it.
I think a year ago, people would have been surprised to see you run a 10K at all, much less make the Olympics and run the Olympics in that event. What's your relationship with the 10K like currently, and how has it developed throughout the year?
It's definitely growing on me. We definitely like talked about doing a 10K like last year, but I just couldn't. We could never piece it together. So like we knew that was probably one of my better events. I don't know. I just feel like I can run for a while. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's growing on me. I still love the 5K though. But yeah, I never would have thought I would have done it in Paris either. But here we are.
Here we are. You said, you feel like you could run a while, run forever. Parker Valby to the marathon confirmed? Or is that like way down the road?
Maybe not at 21 years old. Maybe after I don't know. I definitely want to try, like, I mean, I'm obviously going to leave it up to my coach, but like, I want to try road stuff eventually. And I heard there's a lot more money in roads. So, and I feel like it's easier because it's like you're not running in circles. You get to like see other things, get to wear the super shoes.
There you go. I think something cool about the roads is with the money aspect is like the bonuses for course records are a ton, and you don't really get that on the track with like meet records or things like that. Is there a specific road race you've seen, like mile or 5K, that intrigues you the most?
Um, Not gonna lie to you, I probably won't be doing a mile on the road. That doesn't sound very appealing to me, but I don't know. I don't know like a specific race, but like New York City, obviously, that's a marathon. Eventually, I do want to like run that, but like that one seems super cool to me, and it's just like historic. In Boston, obviously. Um, yeah, I have done a road mile before though. It wasn't very fun. It was in the pouring rain, but and it wasn't Boston. It was like the
Was that
Adidas.
back in middle school?
No, it was actually in high school. Yeah, I forget it. Yeah, I have no idea. I think it was 10, maybe 11th grade. I don't know. Ages ago.
Yeah, speaking of the high school days, you went to Eastlake High School. And now that you're like certified legend in the sport, did they do anything for you at the Olympics? Do you roll up and they've got your face printed all over, or are they still like one of those schools that like only celebrates football and weird popular sports like that?
No, yeah, they definitely celebrate me. I did a little like Hall of Fame. I don't know what exactly to call it, but I went back in December when I did my holiday mile charity event, and I got honored there. So no, it's definitely not just a football school. They're very supportive and super grateful for um, everything that Eastlake's done for me.
Speaking of those high school days, you were at least, and I'm asking you if it still stands, the Florida state record holder in the 3200. You ran 10:10. Does that still stand to this day? And if so, how much longer do you think before it gets broken?
Okay, no, actually, really funny story. So the girl I ran 10:10 point. I I want to say like 4.5, and then
Right on.
the girl who's actually she's on Florida now, Caroline Wells. She just transferred from Stanford. She broke it. I think last or no, she was in college last year, maybe 2 years ago. She broke it. She ran 10:10 point, maybe 2.3 or something. So no, it doesn't stand.
When you ran that, how cool was that for you? And how crazy is it in reflection to be like, my 10K pace is so much faster? And like high school was a while ago, but it also wasn't too long ago.
Yeah, I know. It was like I guess like 4 years ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, no, like we'll go through like even at like the trials when we got to like 8 laps, I'm like, okay, that's 3,200, and we're at like 950 something, and I'm like, that's kind of or like 940, I don't know what it was, but I was like, that's kind of crazy to think about that I used to run, but obviously, like I don't know, I didn't train back then. I was just running off of gosh knows what. Um, but yeah, it is definitely crazy to think about. I ran 10. I thought it was cool that I ran 10:10 because I like the number 10.
Is there ever a moment in a 10K where, yeah, as you were saying, you come through a split and you think to yourself, there's no way we're running that fast, whether it's like a mile, 5K, some random point in the race where you're like, we did not just come through that fast. And oh my gosh, I have this many laps left.
Yeah, no, it's definitely crazy to think about. Like going through like even in a 10K, I don't know. We went through in like 15, 20. I think she paced me for the first 5K to like 15:28 maybe at Brian Clay, and then or maybe it was like 15:30 because then I had to come back around 15:20. So yeah, I was like, it's just crazy to think about that. Like the year before that, my 5K PR was 15:20, and then that year I was running it in the second half of a 10K.
I remember I had you on the podcast back when the podcast was more of a joke, and I say that just because I wasn't really taking it too seriously. It was right after 2022 nationals. I feel like no one really knew who you were. you play second. I was like, who is this Parker Valby person? I want to get her on the podcast. Had you on the podcast, found out you ran like 15:20 something a few weeks after breaking your foot. Looking back on that time, do you feel like that was a race that really showed you what you could be capable of given, yeah, you ran 15:20 second in the NCAA after breaking your foot only a few weeks before?
Yeah, no, definitely. That was like, it kind of was like the introduction to cross training for me and like a reality of what I could do with cross training. Because I always had trouble like putting together full seasons. And yeah, no, it was definitely, I mean, that was probably the hardest 15:20 of my life. But yeah, no, it's definitely it was a good starting point.
If you could go back and have coffee, or probably in this case kombucha or suja, with that version of Parker right after placing second in the NCAA and say, you're going to be a 5-time NCAA champion, NCAA record holder, make the Olympics, 11th in the world in just 2 years. Say that again.
It's actually 6-time NCAA champion.
There you go. 6-time NCAA champion, always more. What would she have said? Would she have believed you?
Part of me probably yes, because I've always just been like this competitor and I hate to lose. And at that point, I had lost. I mean, like in my mind, I had lost twice. I lost SECs and then regionals and then nationals. I got second place at all of them. And so I was like, I'm going to put in the work this season, this summer, I guess. And then I ended up getting hurt. But, I was going to find a way to do it no matter what. So, yeah.
Going back to those high school years, you kind of made a funny comment about you don't really, whatever the training was back in the day. What was the training back in the day? I think people overly fixate on your current training. So let's give them something to chew on. Back in the day, like coming into high school, freshman Parker Valby, what was she doing?
I was playing lacrosse and I was running about 2 miles every other, maybe not even every other day. I was just like, I'm just going to go out. And then I guess when I started running cross country that year, we would run then I started running like 3 to 5 miles at practice. And then I feel like our workouts were like, we would do like a 1 mile on the track. I don't remember what it would be at, but maybe like 6 flat. And then we would run like 8 300s and then be done. It was definitely nowhere close to what I'm doing now, but in hindsight, I'm grateful that I didn't have like a rough start and had to go all in at once on the running. Like I was able to play lacrosse until the next year and then until I broke my ankle. But
Lax Parker, tell me about her. How long had you been playing lacrosse up to that point? And, if you, for whatever reason, decided to stop running and get back into lacrosse, how good could you have been?
I was so convinced I was going to college for lacrosse. I would not have ever believed you if you told me I was going for running. Running was like our punishment in lacrosse. But I started playing, I think, in third or fourth grade when I lived in Connecticut. It's really popular up north. But then when I moved to Florida, it's not as popular here. So I had trouble my school didn't, East Lake High School didn't have a lacrosse team. So I had to play I played for a club over summer and then I played for our rival high school, actually, Palm Harbor. I played for their lacrosse team, which was kind of weird to think about in hindsight, but yeah, no, I think if I got back into it, I wish I still had my lacrosse stick. Some days I just want to go out and, throw the ball.
Would that be like your go-to sport in your mind if it wasn't running that you'd enjoy the most, or is there a different sport in your mind that you'd like to try?
Like that I've done or I wish I could be good at, because those are two
Either
different
or.
questions.
Yeah, either or. Where
really
does your heart lie if it wasn't running?
I really wish I could be a gymnast. I'm way too tall. I'm definitely not able to be a gymnast, but I think that's my true calling in life. I love tumbling and flipping, but 5'9" does not match with those our 5-foot girls. I would hit like all the bars. But yeah, no, I would probably gymnastics or lacrosse.
I feel like in my limited experience knowing about lacrosse, both genders are pretty harsh. Like female lacrosse, men's lacrosse are pretty harsh in terms of if you watch games or even on teams. I'm kind of shocked at, what was your experience there? And was it weird coming to running where everyone for the most part is pretty darn nice, even your competitors?
I feel like everyone in lacrosse is still nice. It's just like, it's kind of just like running. Like you're nice to each other. And then when you get out like on the track or on the field, like you're competitors. So like obviously then you're not going to be so kind to each other during the race. But like afterwards, we can all be friends. We're all just humans, you know.
Looking back on high school, Parker, what did it take to get to that point of running 10:10 from freshman year where you were focused on lacrosse, didn't think you were going to go to college for running? What did it take to ultimately get to running a state record?
Um, you know, my coach probably telling me that I couldn't do that. That's really all it took. He said that I couldn't, and he told me I think he said I could run like 10:20, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go run 10:10. So then I went and ran 10:10.
How much do you feel like that stubbornness has gotten you far in the sport in terms of, people saying you can't do something?
It definitely fuels the fire. I love when someone tells me I can't do something. I love proving people wrong.
So someone comment below on this, like you're not going to win, world championship gold next year, and I'll know where to put the money. Parker
Oh,
Valby for
I'm
gold
sure
next
there's
year.
plenty of those comments online already.
For you, off season, what are some of your favorite things that you've gotten to do post Olympics?
Oh, take a breather, not have to worry about running every day. Focus on literally just everything outside of track. Going to the beach every day has been so lovely. Going on my boat, just like spending time with family and friends, and just, doing like normal people things without having to worry about working out all the time.
Are you back to running? If so, has it been difficult transitioning after off time? Or are you still enjoying no running?
It definitely surprised. No, I got back to running the end of last week ish. I took like 2 and a little, maybe 3 weeks off. Yeah, no, it definitely surprised me how fast you can get out of shape. But I have a feeling it's going to be like riding a bike. It'll come back quickly. I have a lot of time, so I definitely needed a long mental and physical break after that long of a year. I was I was ready to be done mentally, like after um, trials. Like trials was probably like the end for me, and then it's like, oh shoot, I need to get to Paris. Like holding on to everything I had left.
Yeah, for you, what was that balance like physically and mentally? And which do you think was more difficult this season? Because obviously, physically, you exerted yourself more than you ever have before, but also mentally, the season's longer and the stages are bigger than they've ever been before.
You know, um, I would say it was probably definitely more of a mental battle this year than anything. Obviously, I it was a physical battle as well, but like I was relatively healthy the entire year, so I'm super grateful for that and the staff at UF for keeping me healthy and Will and Sam for that. Yeah, it was definitely hard to stay like you have to stay like I had to stay on it like all year, which is hard for me to do because I was used to at that point like before this year I would run a season and then take a break for a season because something would pop up, and so I had never run 3 straight seasons and then more or less run Olympic trials and then make it to the Olympics. So it was just like it was a lot, but yeah, it's all a learning experience. So only up from here.
Only up from here. Talking about last cross country season, now that you mention it, you were just so dominant. Like every time you went out and ran, it was like you just kind of knew what you were going to do. What was that season like for you, ultimately ending with your first NCAA title on the grass?
I wouldn't say that I like you would think that I didn't know what I was gonna do. I wouldn't say I was confident at all. If you actually asked my coaches, like before Wisco last year, like I was begging not to do it. I was like, I'm not in shape. Like, there's no way I'm gonna get like 20th place. Like, I'm gonna go embarrass myself. And Will was like, no, no, like trust me. Like, I've seen what you've been doing in practice. Like, you're gonna do fine. And he was like, you have like at that point I literally had nothing to lose because like I had gotten like I hadn't run yet and I'd gotten runner up the year before at cross nationals. So I was just like, okay. And I'd never been to that course before, so it ended up being a good experience. I actually really liked the course. I'm kind of sad that I'm going to be out of college this year when nationals is there.
It was like pouring rain then, right? Or am
Oh
I
my god,
mistaken?
the wind was like insane. It was like I forgot what they said. I want to say like 20 miles an hour. I was like trying not to get blown over.
Parker certified weather or like absolutely hate it coming from Florida?
I I kind of enjoyed it because Florida's obviously like extremely hot and it's kind of nice to get a break sometimes. I don't mind the cold. Like Oklahoma 2 years ago, 17 degrees was a bit much for me. That one kind of hurt. Like my body was hurting before that race even started. But this one was like, I was prepared, you know? So like we had like all of our rain gear and our ear warmers and all that. I feel like I wasn't as prepared for Oklahoma.
Going into the national meet, you ultimately end up winning it. What was it like to win it, and even look back on some of those experiences throughout the season where you maybe weren't as confident about winning it all and then doing it? How special was that experience? And also, your team absolutely crushed it last year, experiencing these things with them for the first time.
Yeah, no, it was definitely like I would say a lot of my success has come from having a team. I was actually like so done with the sport after track. My first NCAA title, actually, I was probably like the most mentally unwell and physically unwell that I ever was. I was like I was so done training alone, and I actually like Will is one of the reasons I've stayed like in the sport. Like him bringing in all these girls to train with like made me realize like how fun running can be with other people, and it made me like fall in love with the sport and the process again. Um, so yeah, that's definitely one thing that I did realize that I want to have in my life is a team of people to train with and just to be around because training alone is no fun. Um, but yeah, no, it was definitely an awesome year. Having those girls beside me through it all was awesome too. Like winning SECs as a team, it was all like just a fairy tale ending.
I think we talked about this last time I had you on the podcast, but reiterating because you just brought it up, how close were you to actually like retiring and throwing up the spikes, or at least taking a step back from the sport after that first NCAA title? And what are some things, I know you mentioned Coach Palmer being one of them, but that really got you back in the sport and enjoying and loving it again?
Yeah, it was more so just that summer I took a really, really long break off and just spent some time to fall in love with the process again. And taking that much time off, I ended up missing it. And I was like, okay, I do want to do this. And I'm too competitive. I don't know. Like I felt like I had a lot more left and I didn't want to just give it all up. So yeah, super grateful that I don't think I ever was going to actually quit. I just needed a break after that
Hmm.
year. There was a whole lot going on and the coaching change and yeah, it takes a toll on you.
I feel like throughout the years of having the podcast, I've started to hear more and more kids reach out about having that struggle of, falling out of love with the sport or having a really tough season that tests them mentally or physically. Some of the things you mentioned you had gone through. What advice would you give to a listener right now who's going into cross country season and their heart's not quite in it? They're struggling with love for the sport. What are some things you'd advise them on?
I would say don't take it too seriously. Take a step back and just follow. You have like in order to be successful in this sport, you have to love the process. You have to love running. Like if you're just checking boxes, you're not gonna. You could achieve your goals, but you're probably not going to get to where you want to be because it is a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. And it definitely you need to love it.
I think a lot of people struggle with the concept of like stepping away from the sport for a period of time, even if it's like 3 weeks and nothing super extensive, like a year or two
breaks
years.
I would definitely give the advice that breaks are definitely needed and breaks help. Like take for example, like when you do a hard workout, like you're not actually getting better from doing the hard workout. You're getting better when you're recovering and you're sleeping and you're, you know, taking it easy. If you just go hard every day, like you're never gonna get better.
Yeah, what's your general take? You kind of just answered it there, but like taking extended breaks, even if it's not like a physical injury, but like we're talking about, not enjoying the sport as much. And I think taking that necessary time to, yeah, like you said, have that feeling of, oh, I kind of miss running. Maybe I should start back up again.
Yeah, no, I advise to take breaks, whether it be mental or physical. Both are needed, and yeah, no, breaks are definitely crucial to success. Or, some people don't need breaks. I guess. Well, I feel like everyone should take a break, but
I do too.
everyone's different. Don't compare yourself to others. Do what's best for you.
Dishing out advice here. Coach Parker Valby one day, question mark, or no interest in it?
I always think about it. I feel like
Or
I would need to
lacrosse coach?
a what?
Lacrosse coach. Go back
You
to
know,
your
I,
roots.
I think I'd be a better running coach than lacrosse coach. I think I've been out of the sport of lacrosse for too long. There's too many technicalities in lacrosse, and I just don't think I could, yeah, manage all that. But running, yeah, maybe one day.
What's it been like to, I feel like over the past few years, definitely as you've, progressed in this sport, we started to see more high level female runners after retiring start to get into coaching. People like Shalane Flanagan, Amy Craig. I recently talked to Kate Grace, who just hung up the spikes on track, and she was telling me how she wants to get into coaching potentially one day. How cool has that been to see of like, oh, there are ways in which I can stick around in the sport and give back if I ultimately want to one day?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like even I I do want to I really do want to give back in the sport. Like I even coached this girl who she hurt her ankle over this past track season, and I just like coached her through cross training, and eventually like she's now having breakthroughs, and I was like, that's it's just a really rewarding thing to see. And yeah, no, I think there needs to be more female coaches in this sport. So I think that's awesome that they're all becoming coaches, and hopefully there's more to come.
For you, that experience, did that come from like her shooting you a DM? You already knew her. How did that coaching call up come from? Where did it
It
come
wasn't
from?
necessarily a coaching call up. I mean, kind of. She goes to like I knew her like through my old high school.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Carrying on the East Lake legacy.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
gotta keep it going.
Off the track, what are some things that have brought you joy recently?
Ooh, the beach, my boat, spending time with my family and my friends. Obviously, Whole Foods. Can never go wrong there. Um, the cows in Gainesville when I'm in Gainesville. Um, what else have I been doing? Shopping. I've done a lot of shopping. Um, that brings me a lot of joy. Um, yeah, my
Whole
friend.
Foods Hot Bar. What's your take on it?
Ooh, depends where you are. It can be hit or miss. I will say the Gainesville one is like I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. The one in Tampa where I live, I actually just went there this morning. I would give that one a 9 out of 10. I
Okay.
forget where I was. I was somewhere like a week ago. Oh my gosh, where was I? I'm not going to come up with it. But it was like there was probably one piece of lettuce. Like it was the worst possible hot bar. I was like, there's just no way that every Whole Foods is like the same store. Especially like with half the things, I'm like some Whole Foods like will have like the coffee and juice bar, and then some Whole Foods will not have that. I'm like, make up your mind. Like I feel like it should be a universal thing, you know? So yeah, I feel like the hot bar. It depends where you are, but I get it here a lot in Gainesville because I live right next to Whole Foods, and I'm not an avid chef.
At least in Ohio, it's a thing. I'm assuming this is throughout the entire country of the U.S., but you have to like register your boat and give it a name. What's the name of the Valby boat?
Okay, this is actually really funny because my parents like literally just bought a new boat, and my dad was trying to come up with a name, and I was like, "Why are you naming it, you weirdo?" And he's like the government like makes you because you have to register it under a name." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, so I don't know if you've heard this. Have you heard the song "Hotel California"?
Oh, of course. That's a
Okay,
throwback.
there's a part in it that says like Tiffany Twisted. Have you heard like that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Okay,
of
so
course.
my dad was like, we're gonna name it Tiffany Twisted because my mom's name is Tiffany, and obviously my dad and her have been married or not married. They've been dating since seventh grade, so like she's literally all he's ever known. And so he's like, she's getting the boat named after her, of course. I was like, why do we not name it like Parker Twisted? I don't know. And then it's like, no, it's part of a song. And so I guess our boat's gonna be named Tiffany Twisted, although I think it should be named something after me, but you know.
That's the next boat. That's the next boat. Or when he buys you a boat, he'll name
Oh
it after
yeah.
you. Okay, so had you heard Hotel California before the boat, or did you have to listen then after he
No, no,
told you
no.
the
I
name of the boat?
did know the song. I just never like heard that part of it. Like, I've definitely
Okay.
heard Hotel California. I feel like everyone knows that song.
I don't
It
know. I
just
feel current generation, you'd be shocked. I feel like less and less people listen to that's definitely our dad's music, like that classical
oh,
rock,
yeah,
70s, 80s.
for
Yeah,
sure.
Eagles. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'd heard the song. I just didn't process that part of it.
Fair. Speaking on music, what are you first off, are you Spotify or Apple Music gal?
Spotify. I
Okay,
used to be
good.
Apple Music, and then I went to go. You can see my watch tan line if you can see it. I don't have my watch on, but with the Garmin, you can't. I was tired of running with my phone and like the music, and so you can download Spotify on it. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get the Spotify and then just cancel the Apple Music. So that's how I became a Spotify person. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely more of a Spotify fan now after having it for a few years. Um, but yeah, it's a really
So
good feature you can download on a watch.
it is. It's elite. So Spotify Wrapped coming out in 2 months. What can people expect? What can you expect, do you think, from Parker Valby's Spotify Wrapped?
Ooh. My number one, I'd probably say, is going to be like Taylor Swift, Morgan Wallen, Noah Khan, um, Luke Combs. I don't know.
Does your
Actually,
playlist does your playlist change from like, casual listening, you're at your apartment, you want to put some tunes on, or like in the car driving, versus like track warming up for a race or on a run workout, or are they generally pretty similar?
um, yeah, I would say there definitely changes between like car music and like warm up for a race music. um, but yeah, it all depends on the mood. I don't really discriminate. I listen to everything. I don't really listen to one certain genre. Um, yeah.
Fair. So going back, talked about cross country, indoor. Take me through the indoor season, 3K, 5K double. What did that mean to you? And also at this point, are you like thinking about going pro and this is my last cross season, last indoor season, or was it, you didn't know at that point?
No, I think I definitely knew that I was only going to do 4 years in college. My brain can only handle so much. I was tapped out of school at that point. Um, but no, I mean, yeah, I think I only ran 2 races indoors. I ran SECs and then nationals. So it was a very short and sweet season. Yeah, it was super fun. I mean, I never really would have thought that I would have done both. I kind of was, I wouldn't say tricked into doing them. I agreed to do the DMR and the 3K at SECs. And then in my head, I was like, okay, wait, I feel like I'm gonna have to do this at nationals. And obviously, I wanted to give my best effort for my team since I had never run an indoor nationals before. So I was like, I feel like I owe it to them. And so I did both at nationals. Thankfully, we had enough people to do the DMR because I think it was 20 minutes after the 5K, and I don't know how well that would have gone over. um, then again, you never know. But yeah, I mean, it was super fun. I definitely did not expect to necessarily win both. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was a good starting point for outdoors.
Yeah, exactly. Outdoors, you then do another double, 5K, 10K. You close out your NCAA career there. What did that mean to you? I mean, at this point, you're just like the queen, winning everything. What did that mean to you?
I ran my first 10K that outdoor season, so that was an interesting experience. Um, I don't know if it was necessarily like the most ideal setup. It was like, I think it was like 2 a.m. our time. We had gotten there the day before, and like the race was at 10 p.m. California time. And so I was just like, I remember just going into that race and I was like, okay, well, 25 laps and I am tired. Um, but yeah, no, it was a good, it ended up being my PR this season. So I guess it was a good race. But yeah, no, that was good. And then ran SECs. That was fun because that was at home. That was a 5K. And then regionals, yeah, that was a rough decision to do both because obviously had never done both, had never run 3 seasons before. That was kind of another point where I was like kind of mentally like tapped out. I felt like there was a lot of pressure on me at that point, and I was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this, but um, definitely had the support there to help through that. And yeah, eventually it all worked out and it all paid off. A whole lot of laps later, but
For you, looking back on, the past 3 seasons and this past year as a whole, how much of this does feel like a fairy tale dream ending to your time at the University of Florida?
yeah, I never ever would have told you that I would be a 6-time NCAA champion, especially within the span of like a year. I think that's kind of crazy to think about. Um, I don't even know how that's possible, to be honest. But yeah, um, it was awesome. It's a very good ending. Super grateful to be able to have done that and stayed healthy all year.
What were some things, or was there anything you were doing differently in terms of like staying healthy, and how on top of that were you, or like stressed were you about like, oh, I'm so close, like come outdoors and you'd won a bunch of times already. And I'm sure you wanted to complete the double and win both of those. How stressed were you of like, gotta stay healthy here?
I wasn't ever stressed about staying healthy. Like, I think that just taking that break after last year and then just falling in love with running again, like, I genuinely, I love running. I love to run. And I love competing. I love competing like way more than training. But like, I also do love to train. So it's just like, I feel like loving the process and being able to like enjoy it every day with my teammates and just like not stressing about every little thing helped me just like get through the entire season happy and healthy.
How much would you accredit your recent success over this past year to falling back in love with running?
Oh, like 100%. I was so mentally checked out after last year. Just like I don't know if you've ever trained by yourself, but
It does. It
it's
sucks.
awful. It takes a toll on you for sure. It's a lot more fun with people.
Speaking of people, okay, so the first podcast we didn't, I think that was our first time ever talking with each other. And then second podcast, we knew each other better. And at that point, I think I just gotten on Imogen Barrett, and she's a common theme in our podcast. Speaking of
Yes.
people, how much do you miss Imogen? And have you talked to her recently with the Olympics? How much do you miss her
Yeah,
as a training
no, I
partner?
miss her so much. We're actually like planning when I can go to Australia to see her, and then Maz and Lucinda. They all live there, so I do need to make a trip there. I need to be able to sit down for that long. I'm kind of it's just like it's such a long flight, but I definitely need to make a trip out there. I've always wanted to go to Australia, and I miss her a lot.
Just recruit her to come back to Gainesville or wherever you're going. Parker Valby Elite team. She can join. She can be the
Oh
second
yeah.
member. Would you guys ever have crossover or no? Because she was like such an 8 runner, and
No,
you
she
never
ran
do
the
the 8.
mile. She ran the mile.
Okay, so
She
you'd
also
occasionally
she
cross up.
Her and I ran cross country together actually. My sophomore year, she was on the cross country team with me. Um, but yeah, no, we wouldn't do a whole lot of. We worked out together that cross season, but we didn't work out together during like track season because she's super speedy and does the short stuff, and I do not.
Speaking of Australia, Parker, I have to bring up. Coach Palmer brought this up. I was unaware of this. Norway. Where in the world? Can you explain this to me, please?
What about Norway? What did he say? What did he say?
That you claim Norwegian heritage, and that someone at the Olympics asked who your favorite Norwegian athlete is, and you said yourself.
Oh yeah. Okay. So my like family heritage is Norwegian, Scandinavian, like from over there. I don't know the percentage. I don't want to make up a percentage. I don't know the true percentage, but I do know I'm from like my ancestors are from Norway, and I don't know why like at not nationals at the Olympics, like all the Norwegian like media, they all interviewed me for some reason, and I guess it's because they had talked to Chris Chavez before. I don't, and they were like, they asked him like about my cross training methods or something. I don't really know the full story. I was kind of out of it. But yeah, then after they interviewed me, and then they were like, "Who's your favorite Norwegian runner?" And I was like, "Me." And that was how that happened.
Were they confused at all? Like, did they know about your heritage there or no?
No, well then they started asking me my percentage, and I was like, I don't know, I can make up a number for you right now, but I don't want to lie. It's like 50, 60, 70. I don't know. I could probably get a DNA test.
So I want you in the U.S. In competing for the U.S., but would there be any chance of like dual citizenship? You
I
compete,
think
join
I
the
could
Yakabengabertsen super team.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't know the logistics of that, and I don't know. I literally know nothing about any of that. But Palmer did say it was gonna like it would be really hard to get to compete for another country after you had represented the U.S. And obviously, like I'm American, so I love representing the U.S. I think it's super cool. But yeah, I think dual citizenship would be awesome to have.
Buy a home in Norway one day. You can train there from time to
Oh yeah,
time.
no, I'm definitely going soon. I need to go.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know when,
Uh,
but I do want to
What's your
go.
take? What's
My
your take
cousin,
on Europe?
my cousin's in Denmark right now, which is I think pretty close. I told her I was like, this is my dad's side, so the Norwegian, my Norwegian cousin. I was like, you better not go to Norway without me, because we've been talking about going for years. Because there's a town named Valby there, and we were like,
Really?
no, yeah, that's actually called like Valby Parkin something, and I was like, it's basically
No
my name.
way. No way. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, what's your take on Europe? And can you share the story of how you went to the Olympics and then left the village and then came back,
Um,
going on side quests?
my take on Europe. That's a very wide open question. Paris, I would say I'm very grateful to live in the US. I was very grateful to return to the US. I missed America a lot. I don't know, it was a very good experience. Paris, I would say, was kind of underwhelming to me. The city was just like, I don't know. It kind of reminded me of like New York City a little bit. Um, it was just like dirtier than I thought it would have been. And I feel like everyone just like hypes up Paris to be like, this like beautiful love city. I don't know. I felt like I was going to be napped everywhere I went there. Uh, and then I went to Belgium for a little bit. And I will say, I think Belgium is an underrated country. I loved training there. The people there are super friendly. Uh, I would say the food was a lot better there, to be honest. The coffee too. I didn't go to a ton of coffee places outside of the village in Paris just because I wasn't in Paris for too long. But yeah, no, I definitely say I had a lot of a better time training and everything in Belgium. And I think maybe I need to go back to Paris when the Olympics aren't there because I feel like it was just so chaotic that it was just like hard to do anything. And maybe just like go when I don't have to like worry about training and everything.
11th in the world. What was your overall reflection from the Olympics a month removed from it?
Um, obviously I can't really be that mad with it, but like, obviously I'm mad with it, if that makes any sense. Like, just to make it to the Olympics was a dream come true. I feel like that's everyone's dream. And just like being there was like just the whole entire experience was just so awesome. And to be there like with my entire team was even cooler. Just like my entire room in the village was like we were all like it was all my best friends. Like it was all Gators. It was like we're having this sleepover every single night. Just like here in Gainesville. I'm going to Anna's house after this to go see her new puppy. But yeah, it was super awesome. I'm super grateful for the experience. The race was definitely a learning lesson. Um, Very good experience. I think I wish, I don't really wish anything would have gone differently because I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. But I do like it just sucks that like the NCAA season and the professional season don't necessarily line up and like you have to race so many times in the NCAA. So it's like I kind of wish that part was different, that I didn't have to race so much before and I could have been like more fresh, I would say. I don't know for the race, but you know, you win some, you lose some. It's what happened, and I'm 11th in the world. So it was a good experience and only up from here. Obviously, I'll be shooting for a medal in not Paris, LA. So
You've progressed so much in the sport in such a short period of time. What do you feel like the ceiling is for Parker Valby in the years to come? You mentioned a medal in LA. I feel like, at that point, 4 years, gold can't seem too crazy for you.
yeah, I just feel like as long as I stay healthy and consistent, I feel like the sky is the limit. I don't want to say there's a ceiling. Um, yeah, I'd say sky's the limit.
For you, you mentioned a few questions ago about that pressure aspect, and we talked about that last time you were on the podcast last year, of how you've handled that throughout the years. Going into this year, obviously, probably more pressure than ever, just with how much you were winning and the expectations and the Olympic gear, and is she going to make an Olympic team, and then how's she going to perform at the Olympic stage? I feel like, at least as an outsider, you've done an extraordinary job handling the pressure and all the new added pressure. Can you take me through that experience of 2024 and managing those outside expectations?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I have learned over time that like old me, yes, I definitely would have crumbled under pressure, but like over time, I've definitely like you do like throughout your experiences, like you learn like pressure is a privilege. So I would just go into every race and just take on every day like it's a blessing to be here and to be under this pressure. Obviously, I worked my butt off to get here, and so yeah, it just gotta every everyone's going to say something. Most of the people that say something, they're sitting on in their mother's basement behind a computer screen. You kind of just have to learn to block out the noise and just focus on you. And yeah,
For you, looking ahead to the rest of 2024, early 2025, what are some ambitions, goals, or even just like things you're excited for? No school this fall, no cross. What are the
no,
coming
I
few
love
months
cross
looking like for
country.
you?
I'm actually really sad that I'm not running cross country. But yeah, I don't really. I mean, I have some things in the works, so stay tuned for that. Super excited to yes for all everything to come. Um, yeah, I think it'll be a really exciting year, and I'm super excited to build for a good 2025 season.
So you said some things in the works. Does this mean pen has etched paper and we're waiting for announcement, or we're still in the talking stages?
No comment.
No comment.
Yeah.
Very fair. Very fair. Okay, so Olympics off the track. What were some of the highlights?
Olympics off the track. Let me think. Okay, the once again the shopping in Paris. Let me tell you, it is awesome. And apparently there's like no taxes or something there. I don't really know, but did buy a lot in Paris, even though we got sent home with, I think I had 5 or 6 suitcases. It was impossible to get back, let me tell you. I was actually planning to stay in Europe after the Olympics, but like I physically could not with all those suitcases. And my parents had left like 2 days before I had left. So I couldn't even give it to them to take. And so it was like, well, guess I'm not staying. You know, I'm just going to have to come back. Uh, but yeah, I would say definitely the shopping. Going to Belgium was awesome. There's was not a whole lot of shopping there, I will say. I did get to see Belgian cows though, and I don't know if you know what Belgian cows look like, but they're these like they have like some muscular gene. They basically look like bodybuilder cows, and those were super cool to see. And just like experience a whole like experience. I had never been to Europe before, so just like experiencing the whole European culture was super cool. And yeah, spending time with my friends and family in Europe was super cool, and just like being there and having it feel like Gainesville, Florida, with everyone there was also super cool. And obviously the nails—they're literally still on.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, they need to be redone. I'll probably go get them redone tomorrow. But yeah,
For you at the Olympics, obviously there's extra attention because it's the Olympics and more people are tuning into track that normally wouldn't. Was that kind of weird getting attention from people who would normally not never and not regularly follow track, whether it's like more followers on Instagram or Norwegian media going up to you or something else, or just like non-track athletes paying attention for the first time where they normally wouldn't in like a NCAA season?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say I really felt like there was more people necessarily tuning in a track. I feel like all my friends and family that follow me, like they've just followed me throughout my whole career. So it's like that was nothing different. But yeah, I mean, it was my first like international race. So yes, like having the Norwegian media and like the different countries, like just like talking to them, it was super cool, and just like interacting like with the other girls from um, the different countries was super like awesome. Just like learning their stories and getting to cool down and hang out with them was super awesome.
if any, I know you, from the sounds of it, aren't on Instagram a lot of time and you'll delete it. But if you were paying attention, was there a specific follow you got from some celebrity or some other athlete from a country or the US that you're like, no way, they follow me? What the heck?
Um, there was someone who, I don't know, I'm not really up to like pop culture, all that. Someone had followed me. I didn't have Instagram for like all of Paris. Um, but one of my friends, she texted me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that. Like, why does he follow you?" I was like, "What do you mean? I don't even know who that is." She's like, um, then she like went off on this rant. But yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know who I'd say.
Name
Yeah,
drop, question mark, or you don't remember his name?
um, I don't remember his name,
Okay,
but
very fair.
I feel like you would know him. If it comes to me, I'll text you it.
Okay, got it. Okay, Parker, closing out today's conversation with some listener questions. We're just going to rapidly go through these. First question, what watch do you use for running?
Ooh, so I have a Coros and I have a Garmin.
Using all the brands.
I use whichever one is charged.
Got it. Um, Another person asked, what's your go-to hype song before a race/workout?
Ooh, definitely changes all the time. Probably, I think it's called "I Made It." Was one of mine, or "Only Girl in the World" by Rihanna.
Not Hotel California.
Not Hotel California. I can't say that's ever been on any of my playlists. That's way out of my generation.
Another question for you. How do you stay motivated for that many laps around in circles?
You know, you just gotta shut the brain off and focus on literally everything but running. Yeah, I don't know. I just try to pay attention to literally everything but running.
Someone else asked, who's your favorite runner at the moment?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Does it? I'd say Anna Hall.
Fair.
Does she count as
I
a?
was waiting for that. I was
Does she
so
count
waiting
as
for
a
that
runner?
response. Yeah, she runs fast. Her 800 at the US trials was nuts.
She literally, yeah. If she trained for just the 800, we always have this debate of like what she could run. Definitely sub two.
I
Um,
definitely think so. Yeah.
no, she's
Yeah.
an amazing athlete.
Another question. If you could meet any celebrity, who would it be?
Ooh, you see, I'm not really that much of a like fangirl, so I don't know. Let me think. Maybe, maybe Taylor Swift. I don't know. Yeah,
That's not too far fetched, though.
I'd probably say Taylor Swift.
Okay. Very fair. Um, Someone asked, I think picking off of my Gordon Ramsay question, I normally ask, if you were to give Gordon Ramsay a kombucha, what would it be?
Ooh, right now probably cranberry, cosmic cranberry.
This person also asked, is kombucha the new pro runner fuel?
You know, I was talking to someone about this yesterday. I was like, whenever I finish working out, I don't want water. Like I only crave kombucha. Like I'll crave water like other points of the day, but like after I sweat and work out, like I crave only kombucha.
I feel like this is straight from TikTok. What's your Roman Empire?
My Roman Empire. Ooh, that's a hard one. I don't know. I really don't know if I can answer that.
What does it even mean again?
It's
Fill me
like what
in.
like what you think about all the time, no matter what.
Oh, probably kombucha for you.
Probably, yeah. Let's just say that. Whole Foods.
Whole Foods, yeah, there you go. Courtney asked more of a deep question, but I like it. How can parents help their kids? How can parents help motivate their kids without being too pushy?
You know, I don't know if I could help answer that because my parents are the complete opposite. My parents like try to demotivate me if that's a thing. My mom's like, you know, you don't have to run. You can get a job. Like, you can do whatever you want in life. My mom's like, literally everything anti-running. But yeah, I would just say support your kids and their dreams and aspirations, and let them experience life, and don't be pushy, and let them let life take them to where it's going to take them.
Caroline asked, former teammate, tell Parker to please come back to Gainesville so we can do some retail therapy in tan.
Oh yeah, no, I said I should probably tell her that I just got back.
Oh,
Although
like 30 minutes ago.
Tomorrow, so maybe not.
Let's see what other ones. This is a good deep one. How do you deal with failure?
I tell myself that it's a way, like you have to fail in order to succeed.
Another good one. What's your favorite post-race meal?
Ooh, it really depends. Like if it's a morning race, if it's a night race. Um, for some reason our school always gets Noodles and Co. and it always hits. So maybe Noodles and Co.
Another question. Favorite brand of granola bar?
I'm not a huge granola bar person.
It's a hot take for a runner right there.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I did go through a granola bar stage, but like when you eat something too much and it gives you the ick, that's kind of what happened. So
Yep.
like, not a huge granola bar stand right now. I went through a phase of the RX bars, but like if you put one in front of me right now, like I probably would throw up because of the texture. I don't know how I ate those. Yeah, no, I can't answer that question. So sorry, whoever asked that.
Someone asked, what is the best Riz line someone has ever used in a comment section for you?
Oh gosh, there's actually been really good ones. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I could probably go to my Instagram right now and pull one off, but I don't think that's necessary.
Will you ever like them if they're
I've
good?
gotten some pretty clever DMs before. I'm like, how did you come up with
Really?
that? Yeah.
Do you ever respond or like absolutely not?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. So to the guys out there, if you are really clever enough, you may, if you're lucky enough, get a response.
Yeah, yeah.
Question from Claire. How do you find the strength to push yourself?
Claire, like my Claire?
Claire.Hoyer.
Okay, don't know who that is. How do I find the strength to push myself? I don't really, it kind of just, I love getting better and I love competing. So I don't know. I just say it just comes naturally.
She's just different. We understand. We understand.
No, no, no.
Parker, one final question for you. More of a serious one, but closing us out here. For those who look up to you, which I know so many people do, I can't tell. If you look at my DMs, it's a lot of people talking about how inspired they are by you and how I got to get you back on the podcast. So they're listening now. A lot of people are inspired by you and your journey to get to this point. What would you say to the next generation of runners who want to do some of the things you've done in sport?
I would say just believe in yourself and have fun with the process, and the results will come.
Short and sweet. I love it. Parker, really appreciate you taking the time to come back on the podcast. Thank you so much. You've won 6 NCAA titles since we last talked. So big things ahead for you. I'm excited to see all the things you'll accomplish.
Thank you.